Let's take you to the US now, where the Office of the Director of National Intelligence is to investigate the documents removed from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. The office oversees the CIA, NSA, and 16 other agencies. It'll now lead an intelligence community assessment of the potential risk to national security that would result from the disclosure of the documents. A redacted copy of the FBI affidavit used to justify the search was unsealed on Friday. It said agents had conducted a preliminary review of the contents of 15 boxes of documents that Mr. Trump returned to the National Archives from his Florida property in January, and identified documents with classification markings in 14 of those 15 boxes. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Arise US correspondent Eric Ham, who is in Washington. Good to see you, Eric. How significant potentially is the announcement from the Director of U.S. National Intelligence, Avril Haines, that her office will lead a review concerning the sensitive documents retrieved from Donald Trump's Florida residence?
Well, Charles, this is actually standard operating procedure whenever documents have been mishandled in this way. And so what we're seeing now is that these documents have already been scrubbed by the FBI. And now they're going through this further review, particularly focusing on any types of national security breaches to not only the documents, but of course, the information within those documents. And we're told now this investigation is going to continue. Now, remember, a judge is actually expected to rule on Thursday if, in fact, she will appoint a special master to oversee these documents. We also learned today that as the FBI went through this information, there were some limited materials that they did find that they did believe contain attorney-client privilege, and those documents will be returned to the former president. We are told that it was a very limited amount of documents that were found that were swept up in this search that will be returned to the president. We do also know that tomorrow the Justice Department is supposed to make their final arguments as to why a special master should not be appointed. And for our viewers, so they understand, a special master would be a third party that would be involved in looking at looking at these documents to determine if, in fact, the FBI actually took all the documents that belong to the government and not anything that may have been involved or was the property of the former president himself.
Nevertheless, we have heard, Eric, from people, analysts and so on, people who used to work in the DNI, that the fact that the DNI has been asked to lead a damage assessment is indicative of a very serious situation. I mean, what potential risks could they be looking for? Well, if you look at, let's go to Edward Snowden. We know this was the young man who actually absconded with documents to Russia. And we know that those documents, many believe, had, of course, been reviewed by Russian intelligence. Well, what now is going to happen is these documents will be scrubbed to determine if, in fact, there were security or intelligence breaches by not only the former president, but anyone who may have had access to these documents. Are there sources and methods that have been compromised? And of course, this will involve these agencies going through the documents themselves, but not just the documents, but the information that is contained in the documents. You have to remember, Donald Trump left the office with information that was typically provided to him as president of the United States. And we know that at least 140 of these documents were seen as highly classified and top secret. And so now the various intelligence agencies have to now scrub these documents to ensure and to understand if, in fact, there were not only breaches, but also was information compromised, and is there a potential threat to the United States as a result of the former president having had these documents outside of a secure, compartmentalized room to where these documents had been for quite some time now.
And Eric, Mr. Trump has accused the Democrats of weaponizing the intelligence community against himself, the former president. Any merit to that accusation?
Charles, you broke up there for a second. But in terms of any merit to the former president's argument about should this information have been in his possession, there is none, because there is a law, a very stringent law. In fact, we know when Donald Trump was president of the United States, he actually increased the criminal penalty for mishandling secure documents like the documents he himself absconded with. So this is a very serious matter. And now, of course, all eyes are going to be on the Justice Department, because it's clear that the former president actually broke the law when he not only took these documents, but refused to actually return them.
Eric, thanks very much indeed. Eric Ham, Arise US correspondent, talking to me there via a rather dodgy line from Washington.